And I really wanted to explore a lot about dealing with grief because I think one of the main things that people think there's a really strong myth about death and dealing with death, and that it's only for people that are grieving people that have passed away. But I think grief comes in many different forms. It comes from loss of relationships, loss of friendships, loss of identity, all of these different things. And one of the things that I wanted to touch upon is that. So I think that anybody that's watching this today, anybody that has lost a loved one, that has been through a transition in life, a significant life change, people that have transitioned from relationships, identity, different jobs, the conversation is still very powerful and you can still gain a lot from this, even if you haven't lost a loved one, because grief is a loss. Grief is the ending of something. Um, and especially Glenn, obviously, Elle's dad, the passing of a parent hits different, So I just wanted to speak about some of those myths really. And I myself haven't lost anybody significant in my life as of yet. And I think in dealing with that, it's not something that you can prepare for neither, is it? I don't think it's something that you're never going to, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a job, those don't equate to the same loss as a parent. So it's been 3 years for you. And what are some of the most challenging things that you found when dealing with this?
Uh, uh, everything. Well, it's hard to put like a pinpoint on like a certain thing. Like it it's everything, but like the everything is at like different stages.
Mm, mm.
If that makes any sense.
I
Like
read
you
about.
struggle,
Mm,
yeah, you struggle with everything, but like something can be so big and something can be so small. Like there's
mm.
no sort of
Like
limit
one thing
on
where,
what that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So it's like every single day you're waking up and you're having to face that day, and every single day is just different. It comes with its new
yeah.
challenges. Yeah. Mm,
Like literally, it's like today, I'm gonna go shopping. That's the challenge
mm,
because it's ridiculous, but like there's just triggers everywhere,
mm.
absolutely everywhere. Like it could be a bag of peas, it could be like a piece of fruit. Like with me, like when my dad was poorly, we used to go to Lidl and we used to get some watermelons to juice for him because that's what he liked. So like
Mm.
I could be walking around the supermarket and like I see a watermelon or a different kind of melon, whatever, and that's like a trigger. And then I've got to learn how to cope with that,
Mm. Oh
which sounds
wow.
crazy.
It doesn't. It doesn't. That's really like it's a memory and that's triggering the thoughts and the memories for you. And obviously once you start to think about your dad, that's obviously going to set something off in your mind that's going to,
Mm.
make you think about what's happened. So some of the triggers, it literally could be anything and everything.
Yeah, like it can be anything. Like I think about my dad every single day. There's not a day goes by that I don't think about him. But it makes it that little bit worse. Like the watermelon thing to me is a trigger because that's what like we did when he was poorly. But I don't know if say like he liked watermelon, he did like watermelons, but
Yeah,
like say he liked them when he wasn't poorly, like that could be a completely different trigger.
I see. So it's because
Yeah.
it's like attached to the the negative stages of his life. So when he was poorly, what was actually going on at that time?
What do you mean?
So it was he what was his illness?
Oh, he had cancer. He had esophageal
Oh,
cancer.
right, I
Mm.
see. So it was a progressive, it got progressively worse and worse and worse. And then in the later stages, yeah.
Yeah, well, he got diagnosed in like the end of the April, beginning of May of 2022, and then he passed away in the November of the 2022. So it was long, but it was a long progression, or but it was also very short at the same time.
Some of those triggers I've sort of like read a little bit about grief and it spoke about the triggers. Um, so how do you deal with that? So then when you feel like you are triggered, have you found a coping mechanism to deal with those negative triggers?
So as of yet, I don't think I haven't.
Hmm.
I can't say for definite that I have. Like I don't know how I bring myself out of them negative thoughts. It just sort of it happened. It's the whole, oh, you learn to cope with that feeling. But I don't know how I learned to cope with that feeling. It's just a thing that comes over you.
Hmm.
It's really hard to explain. Like,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that's like I obviously lost my dad. Like it can be the same for anyone. Like anyone that's experiencing grief, it can be different. Like everyone's grief is different. Like
Mm,
no one experiences the grief journey that like the same. Like it's not linear. Like you obviously got like the angry stage, like the hurt stage, the upset stage. There's there's loads, and like they can all come at different times. There's no set
mm, mm,
path,
mm. Because when
if that
there's
makes
stage,
sense.
yeah, it does. When there's stages, you think, well, there's an end then. If there's
Yeah,
stages, it's
but
like, well, boom, boom, boom. So
I
we,
I can't see how there is ever an end. Like
mm,
you can't compare anyone's grief. Everyone's grief is completely different. The person that has been lost in someone's life, like everyone has a different relationship with that person. Hence why the grief is going to be different.
mhm,
Like I've got a brother. There's just me and my brother. Like he's obviously grieving as well. He grieves differently to me.
mhm,
uh he goes through the different stages at different times to me.
mhm,
He it's you can't yeah, you can't compare. Like I'm trying to think how like the best way to explain it is like uh yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory how I've just
yeah, definitely. I think that everybody does grieve differently. Everybody deals with things differently. Like we've all got different coping mechanisms. We've all got things that we do that we've all got it. We process that grief differently as well. And sometimes there isn't one fits all. But going back to what you said about your triggers, um, the way I think that everything is about perspective, and I think that you're really right in saying that, you've associated that watermelon with a bad, phase in your dad's life, and that's something that triggers you. Have you ever thought about, maybe viewing things differently so that you are able to deal with that moment differently? So like rather than looking at it as it didn't like watermelon. So he didn't like watermelon, but you had to have it.
well,
Is that
he
was
did like watermelon.
Yeah.
But he went on this like juicing diet thing, and the
Hmm.
watermelon was one of the bearable juices that he could have like in a high volume.
Hmm.
So at the point that he was consuming a lot, like he didn't like it anymore
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because he had
So
that
like,
much of it.
yeah, yeah. So like, if you could look at things, and this is just as a suggestion, but if you could look at it things, because that sort of brought a smile to your face then, like when you were talking about it, like, you know what, he actually got sick of it in the end, because it
Yeah.
wasn't something that he didn't like, but it was something that he was just like. So rather than looking at it in in a negative way, look at it like the funny side of it. Like, God, my dad, he took it and took it and took it, but he had that much of you know what I mean? Because that was as you
Mm,
were explaining it, there was a smile there because it was a almost funny thing because it's just he had so much of it, and I think that
yeah,
reframing how we look at things can be really powerful. Like we can change the story of what it is, even if it is in a terrible time for yourself. You can change the way you look at it, and
yeah,
maybe that will be or bring you you know, some sense of looking at that rather than a trigger. Is there anything else that mind you, what a bag of peas? What was the peas about?
that was just something random that I
Oh,
picked
right,
up.
okay.
I was trying to think at the time,
I
like
was
there was no
thinking,
relevance
was
to
it a
it, and then I was
specific
like, oh,
thing?
the watermelon.
Peas? Yeah, yeah. Oh, I see. It triggered the yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you have positive triggers?
Yeah, all the time. Like
That's
some of
beautiful.
my positive triggers are also, I want to say then like negative triggers, but they're not negative triggers. They're just sad triggers. Like
Mm,
there's happy triggers that are also sad triggers,
mm.
like Snapchat. I don't use Snapchat. I leave the Snapchat on on my phone so I can look through the memories that pop up from 12 months ago and 2 years ago. Like
Um,
they're happy triggers,
yeah.
but they're also sad triggers. Like I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it brings me comfort, but it also makes me sad at
Mm,
the same time.
mm, mm. Yeah,
So
yeah. It's yeah, I can get the paradox of that. It's like,
yeah,
oh, yeah, like what my yeah, yeah. So that is a happy trigger for you. Yeah, because
mm,
it happens, doesn't it? When you get pop-up memories, you're like, oh God, do I want to sit now? I don't want to, in your camera roll, we get them on our
yeah,
camera
yeah,
rolls as well. So
mm,
so those are positive but sad triggers for you. Who have you had
yeah.
around you, Elle, to support you like through you if you had your family support? Obviously you all it's something that you're all going through. Have you had a lot of support from your family?
Yeah. So there's obviously there's me and my brother. Like I have the support from my brother, but again, like I don't lean on him too much because I know he's going through it as well. He's younger than me, so like I don't feel responsible because that's the wrong word to say. But I know he also feels responsible for me because he's the boy. Like obviously, out of the boy and the girl, the boy thinks that they should look
Oh,
after the girl.
yeah, yeah. They do. They
So
do.
I've obviously got my brother for support. I've got like my granddad as well, which is my dad's dad. I got
Mhm.
my partner. Um, I did have some like counseling therapy sort of stuff
Yeah, you spoke
18
about
months
that. Did
ago.
yeah? Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, therapy counseling. Have you had any?
Yeah, so I know you asked about like obviously family and stuff, but
Yeah.
I had like I think it was like 6 sessions of counselling,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it, therapy. I don't know. I don't know what they call it on the NHS these days.
Mhm.
And it was atrocious. I didn't even finish the course of the 6 because it was that bad. I literally felt like I was doing a tick box exercise. I had to go to my GP. I was sat in this tiny little room with this woman. She had her laptop in front of her. She had like her desk, and then she was sat there, and then I was almost sat like in the corner of the room on like one of them chairs you get in the waiting rooms, like the plastic chairs. It was like that, and it was just atrocious. Like I didn't feel like I could talk. I thought I was going to go in there, be able to just sit there and spill my guts out, and it wasn't like that at all. I didn't really get a chance to talk. When I did, it was more focused on answering her questions, which, which I can't specify like what the questions were because obviously it was last year now and loads of stuff happens in between. But it was just it wasn't sustainable. It didn't help me.
Mm.
Like it was awful, as I've already said. It like I can't even put into words how
How awful.
terrible it was. Yeah.
Mm.
Hence why I never finished off the sessions.
But that
It was
made you angry, didn't
crazy.
it?
Yeah, it made me
Mm.
angry. I mean, I've had therapy in the past. I
Mm.
had it back in 2020. I had the CBT.
Mm.
And again, like I didn't think anything of that really. And thinking about it now while we're talking about it, the CBT that I had and this grief counseling therapy were pretty much like the same thing.
Mm. So it didn't,
That,
when you say the same thing, you mean as atrocious.
yeah, atrocious, but like I feel like it was like
It wasn't specified
there was
to grief.
literally no, there was reading off the same hymn sheet basically.
Mm. It didn't cater to when you go into a counselor for that, they have to specialize in that. If you go into a grief counselor, you expect to be counseled and supported to like specifics. So it needs
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
more tailored for you.
Yeah, to the person. Because again, obviously everyone grieves in different ways, but I also think the wo- the woman that did my grief counseling, grief therapy, whatever you want to call it, she clearly hadn't been through any type of grief. Like which some people don't experience for a long time in their life, which is absolutely fantastic, you know. But I found that didn't she wasn't able to connect with me. She
Yeah.
couldn't understand or try and like empathize with what I was saying because
Mm.
she didn't get it.
Mm.
Like she totally didn't get it,
Mm.
which I know you're not always gonna get. I know that,
Mhm.
but it just for something like that, like I was really disappointed, really disappointed.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you were let down and you had an expectation of that you would be dealt with in a specific way to your specific needs. And are grief counselors for a reason. I think that you have to specialize when you're doing something like this. I totally agree with you.
Mm.
If you're going to have counseling from somebody, they have to have either been in that position or know exactly, and even as I'm saying it, know exactly how to go about things. Because if you've never experienced things, the connection will be different. They won't be able to get
Mm.
through to you. And that's obviously something that needs to change, and because you could tell yourself that she couldn't relate, there was no connection. And I do think that it's so important for any type of counseling, if you're going to specify in an area or specifying anything, you actually going through what you're counseling somebody about is so important. So I'm really sorry that you were so let down, because I think that had you had the correct counseling, it could have really been really beneficial for you just to
Mm.
talk to
I
somebody
agree.
openly. That's why I said for you to come on this and sort of share your journey, even though I haven't been through anything like you. If I can help in any way and help anybody else from you sharing your story, then it's going to be powerful just for that reason. But yeah, that's such a shame that you didn't get that. Have you ever reconsidered about going to a grief counselor? Something
No,
specific, more specifically. Has it put you
it's
off?
no because it's literally put me off. Like it's left such a sour taste. I'm just like,
Mm.
no.
It would be good if there was more support out there for people that they could access this support, and it would be completely free or at a very low cost. Even charities, they're at capacity. a lot of the time because this free service, you get one charity that opens and they've got this free grief counseling service, and then it's all at capacity because people need it. How,
Macmillan, for
yeah,
example.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think they're amazing. They are
yeah,
actually amazing.
yeah.
I did have a session with them when my dad was still alive, when he was in
Oh, wow.
hospital.
Yeah.
That was like part of the service that's
Hmm.
provided when like there's cancer patients in the hospital and stuff, and it's not just for the patients, it's for the families as well. But again, I only had that one session because
Hmm.
like you've said, like there's so many people that require these things. They don't have the resources and the facilities to
Hmm.
see all these people.
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. There's so many people trying to access different services. And so you were happy with Macmillan.
Yeah, like I couldn't from the one session I had with them, like I couldn't fault them. Like I'll be honest, I sat in that room with the lady at the time and I cried my eyes out
Mm,
because I was realizing what I was about to go through.
mm,
But that's what I needed at the time,
mm,
and they let me do that.
mm,
Like
mm,
she just let me sit there, and I didn't even have to talk if I didn't want to.
mm,
But that was what I needed, and there needs to be more of that
mm,
with like the grief counselling I had through the NHS,
mm,
rather
mm,
than sat looking at a laptop,
mm,
reading off a list of questions that you get asked every single session at the start.
mm.
Like, sorry, no, that don't
Yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah.
Speak to people that have been through grief, get
Mm,
their feedback, because
mm-hmm,
I'm sure I won't be the only one. I could be wrong, but I don't think
mm-hmm,
I'll be the only one to say that that is not right.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. She did exactly. Obviously, they specialize with that as well. You like, obviously, your dad
Mm,
was had cancer, and they know exactly what they're dealing with. The family, the friends, they know how to approach those situations. It's a shame that you only got one session, though. Yeah, you would have thought that there would have been something
mm.
afterwards, like an aftercare.
There probably was an aftercare, but because of how like it all happened with my dad, like
Mm,
we lived in Cornwall at the time. He was in Derriford Hospital, then he went to St Luke's Hospice
mm,
in Plymouth.
mm,
I think just the way it all panned out, and then I came back to Birmingham because like that's where I'm from. Obviously, my
mm,
brother was in Birmingham, my granddad's in Birmingham, so I just think it sort of got lost a little bit. We sort
mm,
of lost communication with them.
mm.
So,
I'd have a look
but
into
I
that,
could have
Elle.
reached out to someone here, like someone
I'd,
in Birmingham.
yeah, I'd have a look into that about an aftercare service with Macmillan because
Mm,
obviously, like you said, you were moving and everything. You didn't even probably think about those things. Obviously, if that's something that you wanted to do, but it sounds to me like you were extremely let down, and for you to not have support even still, when you truly, truly need it as well. Because there's things obviously that are still that are all, like you said, are always going to be there. But if you can have that support whilst, that little bit of guidance and just a space where you can feel free to just cry if you want to, not talk if you don't
yeah,
want to, talk if you want to. That's so important. And I know you've been put off by it, and rightly so, because I
mm,
mentioned to you, I'll mention this very briefly because it's about you, but I mentioned to you that I had a counseling session booked. And I was really looking forward to this session. I was like, yes, yes. When I was going through everything that happened with my sharp and all of these things, it was like, whoa, I'm really
mm,
looking forward to this session. And the woman rang my phone and then put the phone down. Obviously, she didn't want to do the session that day and just had to make it look like, well, I did phone. I was extremely disappointed.
mm,
And that was a session that was booked through, the NHS, and it was a free service, and it was just terrible. And again, like yourself, it felt very robotic. It didn't feel like I'd made a connection. So,
yeah,
these things um are so important to, anybody that's working in the in a position where they're caring for people, where they are dealing with mental health, counselors, anything of that nature. If you do not possess the qualities that is required to do these sorts of jobs, don't do the job. Stay out. If you're not empathetic, if you're not non-judgmental, if you're not, have a deep sense of care and you're doing it for the money, these are not jobs that you can play about with. These are not jobs to do to say, oh, I'm a counselor and da, 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 da. Forget it. Don't even bother because these are people's lives that you're dealing with. And I'm very, very, very passionate about these things. I've got a friend who's a carer and she doesn't do it so much now, but she's fantastic because it's her calling. I can see that it's her calling. I don't think she does it that much, but I can tell that, when she's doing it, she's passionate about it. She cares, and you can tell the difference, like you going through that CBT, robotic, you can tell the difference between somebody who
Yeah,
cares and who doesn't. It's not a job you can do for the money. It's not a job, especially the NHS. They're so underpaid for what they
I
do.
know.
If you're going to step into that sort of job or profession, do it because you want to do it. Do it because you enjoy it. Do it because you care. So I completely um agree with you. It's a very specific subject and requires a specific set of skills to deal with grievers. It's not something that I would be able to get into. Counseling, yes, but that wouldn't be my niche. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't even step into that because I just know that that's not something that I can connect with people on. When it comes to
Mm.
relationships, now we're talking. How long you got?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, young people, counseling, how long you got? You know, boom, I'm there. But grief, not my forte. Wouldn't even entertain it. One of the questions that I was going to ask you is what didn't help you? And that was, so you've already answered that one.
Yeah.
That was the
I
the
got
the
ahead of
counselors.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, the counselors. And do there's this big stigma around grief and like death and loss. Like it's not spoken about like I feel it should be. Like I've always thought this before I even experienced grief, before I lost my dad and before I lost my nan. I've always been interested in it anyway, which
Mm,
sounds really weird,
mm,
but it intrigues me,
mm,
and I don't think I know that it's not spoken about enough. You can never be prepared for it. Never ever be prepared for it. I don't care what anyone says. You
mm,
can't. But I think if it was spoken about more
mm,
from people that have experienced grief, it would help people that haven't yet been through it.
mm. In what ways would you speak about it if you started a podcast or if you started speaking about it? In what ways would you speak about it?
I think I'd speak about like the journey, like where how it all started, like you know what happened during the time my dad was ill. Because looking back now, at the time, if you'd have asked me, oh, looking back now, let me say that I was grieving, even though my dad was still alive.
Mm,
I wouldn't, I didn't want to admit it
mhm,
because I was in denial of what was happening. Clearly, like it's my dad. But I just I can't explain it. Like I know what I want to say, but it won't come out right. But I just think it should be spoken about more. I'll be honest. I know I was in denial, which I hate to admit, but up until the day my dad passed away, I was 110% convinced that he could carry on and not die, basically.
Wow.
But that's because like that was the journey like we was on, we didn't, I say we, my dad, it was we because we did it with him. Like my dad didn't have chemotherapy. He didn't have immunotherapy. I tell a lie. He did. He had chemo once and he had immunotherapy once. I remember that. It was awful.
Mm,
But my dad did like a natural healing process
mhm,
um with my uncle Tim, who lives in Australia. He's into quantum healing and stuff like that. Again, another a long story that I won't get too much into, but he has helped people that have had days left to live, been diagnosed with cancer, all different sorts of diseases, and he's helped them get over it and they're still living today. And my dad was on this journey, like with my uncle Tim, but my dad wasn't strict enough. He didn't follow it to the book.
mm,
He did, and then he didn't. And to be fair, I still truly believe to this day, if he had followed it like strict to the protocol, like my dad would still be here now. But going back to what I was saying, like that is why up until the day my dad passed away, till the probably an hour before, an hour and a half, I was convinced my dad would make it.
mm, mm.
Which sounds crazy for like other people that have been through it, have lost parents, partners, children to cancer. Like they'll be like, bullshit,
Mm,
doesn't happen. But everyone has their own beliefs.
mm.
Everyone, it's like religion, everyone has their own beliefs.
Yeah.
But my belief was
Mm,
that up until that point, he could have made it.
mm,
So, but I was also still grieving because there was something in the back of my mind thinking, well, what if he doesn't? Like I did have that
mm,
doubt, which I
mm.
hated having because I pushed my dad so much in the nicest possible way
Yeah.
to follow this protocol and do everything, that my Uncle Tim was doing because obviously I wanted my dad to live. Like that
Mm,
was my goal. But there was still something in the back of my mind saying, like, what if this doesn't work? Like, obviously, my dad's going to pass away. I'm going to lose him.
mm,
So there was that grief there as well. But I
mhm.
was in denial.
You was it, yeah. Which you said
Yeah,
you
I
hate.
don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know actually. Now I'm
Mm,
talking about it again. Like, was I in denial? Some
mm,
people would say I am. I was told that I was in denial,
mm,
but at the time I didn't think I was. And now I'm saying it out loud again. I'm like, actually, was I in denial? But
mm.
I don't know. That was my belief. I'm going to eat a grape, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's all right. As you're speaking about it, you think that so now you're questioning, was I ever in denial? Was it
Mm,
denial?
was it
Or
denial?
what,
What was it?
what was it?
Mm,
Maybe
even
you,
I can't answer that.
maybe you did know, maybe you did know, but your mind in your brain
Mm.
didn't,
It's hard to comprehend. It's very hard to comprehend.
yeah.
Like, I still think, like I've just said, I still think now, if my dad followed what my Uncle Tim was
Hmm.
doing to the book, strict, doing everything he said,
How did
I
you find
think my dad would.
still be alive? How did you
Yeah.
know that he didn't follow it to the book?
Because he used to cheat. Like, he used to have, like, these luxury things that
I
he
see.
shouldn't have been having,
Mm,
like ice cream and cake and, like, not nice things, but to do what my dad was doing, you had to eliminate them nice things. That was part of the process.
Could that have been the part of the denial? Could that have been part of your inner knowing because he wasn't sticking to the book? That,
I used to say to him, I was like, I still have the messages on my phone. And it sounds really bad, but I used to say to him, like, all I want is for you to live. I know that you want to live. Like, you want to see me. Okay, I'm 30 now. I was 26 when my dad
mm,
passed away. Um, I used to say to him, I know you want to see me grow up. Like, you want to
mm,
have grandchildren. Like, potentially one day I might get married. I don't know,
yeah.
you know, but I know that you want to see that, Dad. But the only way you're going to do that is if you follow this
Hmm.
and be strict with yourself. And he was very, very strict with himself. He did go through a long, long phase of sticking to it. But as soon as he was given something nice, he
Mm,
was like, oh, I enjoyed that. Like,
mm,
I'm going to die anyway. So I may as well have it. But no, Dad, you're not going to die if you
mm,
follow it.
mm, mm. So
But there
he's,
was other people around us
mhm,
that didn't like, I don't care if they ever see this.
mhm,
They didn't believe in it. They did not believe in it
mhm,
from the start. They
mhm,
they'll say they did, but they didn't because if they did, they would have pushed my dad to do it.
mm. So you were the only one pushing him,
Me and my brother. Me and my
your brother.
brother.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because he didn't, because the mind is so powerful.
And he had like obviously these doctors and nurses and hospice nurses telling him, we'll support you following this route, but really, it's not going to work because they've only ever been taught that Western medicine is the way forward. You know, so they're like, we'll support you. You can do whatever you want to do. Like this is your journey, but ultimately, it's not going to work. The only way you're going to get better is having chemo, having immunotherapy. So that was in the back of his
In
mind as
his
well at
mind.
the
Yeah,
same time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like my dad was a very, very, very strong person, like very headstrong person.
Mm,
But when you're that, like, I don't know because I haven't been through it like my dad did, but when you're in such a vulnerable place, I think you do start to question what people are saying to you and like, oh, actually,
mm,
are they right? Are they not right? You
mm,
know? So I think that's where, like, I think the grief sort of kicked in for me.
mm, mm, mm. You could see him sort of doubting everything. And
Mm-hmm.
if you've got loads of, you imagine you've got loads of people around you saying that it's not going to work, it's not going to work, and you accept that as a belief, and because life is all about belief systems. So if you've got 10 people around you and only two people are saying, come on, it's a bit like the law of averages, really, unless you'd have to, and plus he was in a weakened state with the cancer. He's not, he wasn't in his
Mm.
strength, he wasn't in standing in his strength, was he? So it's not like, it's a very deteriorating disease. In listening to everything that you've been saying, I think you'd be really great at creating something specifically for grievers because
Yeah, like I'm very passionate about it.
very passionate.
Like, very, very passionate about it.
One
And
of
I
the things I
do
was gonna,
think, as I've
mm,
said, it should be spoke about.
yeah,
Death
because
and
one
loss
of
should be spoke about.
it should be spoken about, yeah, and I think that we tiptoe around it a little bit because even when approaching this conversation, it's like I was a little bit like, how do I approach this? How are we going to speak about it? But sometimes I just let things flow, as it is and as and when. And I always approach everything with good intentions. So I
Mm,
knew that whatever was going to come out of this conversation, it's just going to come out as it is. Because my intentions are good, my intentions are pure. Um, so but it's difficult to know what to say and know what to do. And, what advice would you give to somebody
mm.
that doesn't know what to say or doesn't know what to do when someone says, oh my God, I've just lost my, what
If
advice do
someone
you have?
doesn't know what, If someone doesn't know what to say to someone that's lost someone, don't say anything.
Mm.
That's my opinion because there's nothing. And again, it comes from good intentions. We were talking about this the other day, It's like people say to you, oh, they're in a better place.
Yeah.
Mm, well, they're not in a better place, are they? Because
Mm.
they're not here with me. So no, they're
Mm.
not in a better place. But I understand where you're coming from.
Mm.
Like there's that comment, there's, oh, you'll get over it. Time's a healer. Mm, no. And this is no disrespect to anyone, but I always think that the people that say that have never experienced grief because unless you've experienced grief, that's not the right things to say. But they always come from good intentions with people because they don't know any different. But they're probably up there, the top three worst things you could say to someone that lost someone
Mm. Mm.
is,
So
oh, they're in a
really,
better place.
yeah, yeah. So do
They're
you
not
think it's
suffering.
yeah, they're not suffering, time's a healer, all of these different things. So it really is about compassion then on both sides, isn't it?
Yeah.
About the griever understanding that it's also as much compassion comes from the person asking the questions, it also requires compassion on the other side as well
Mm,
for people to understand that people do find it difficult to deal and it can be a trigger, can't it? Like, what the hell did you just say
mm,
that for? Like, what do you mean everything happens for a reason? What do you mean, he's in a better place? What do you mean? I think it's about having compassion that this
yeah.
person has probably not dealt with that. Otherwise, they just wouldn't say those things, would they? They just wouldn't.
Like
They,
I'm a sucker for saying everything happens for a reason. Like
yeah,
that is my go-to because that's what I truly believe.
yeah,
And as I as much as I wish my dad was here, I absolutely like worship the bones of him still. I'd do anything to have him back. But I am a true believer that everything does happen for a reason.
mhm,
And for whatever reason, I know, I think I know the reason why what
mhm,
happened to my dad happened,
mhm,
but that's quite a personal thing.
mhm,
Uh, Everything does happen for a reason, but again, I don't think I feel like it's okay for me to say that,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I don't feel like it's okay for someone else to say that to me who's not grieving, for
mm,
someone to say it to me, if
yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. If somebody came to you that's lost somebody that said, "You look, Elle, I've been in the same position as you. You know, I do believe that this transition, um, we've all got a time, and it may have been his time. It may, whatever your belief systems are, you would definitely connect differently, wouldn't you? Especially coming
Yeah,
from somebody
100%.
that has dealt with that. You just instantly you'd be
100%.
like, you just like, don't you tell me that. I can say that, I can feel that, but you just, yeah, you
Mm,
don't want to hear it. Mm. I
it's
completely,
crazy.
I completely get that. And then I thought, well, what other resources are there available for grievers? Um, and there is a gap, isn't there? Because there
Mm.
is a gap because I then thought about social media. Well, is there anybody that you can connect with on social media on YouTube that has got a channel that deals
There
with
is actually.
yeah, yeah,
There is a
okay,
very good, there's a very good, there's two ladies, sorry, and it's called The Good Grief. I
good
think it's called The
grief.
Good Grief. And I
All
do
right.
follow them on Instagram.
Yeah.
And like their whole obviously thing is about grief.
Mhm.
They've both experienced grief, which is why they set up this page and it's
Yeah.
become quite a big thing. And I found that very, very, very helpful.
Oh wow.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but there's not enough of that. But they're doing it because of their experience. Obviously, they make money from it now. Like, not for me to comment on that,
Mm.
but they started it up to deal with their grief.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, like you said,
Mm.
there's not enough of it.
I'm sure it's called the good grief, or is it called the morning grief? I can't remember.
Have a look, try to find it. If you got
I'm gonna have a look.
so the podcast or the people that you follow
Then
to get
yeah,
information on grief is the Good Morning.
podcast, yeah, on Instagram. And it's Sally Douglas and Imogen Khan. And I think they're both Australian actually.
Are they?
And yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The Good Morning. I'm
But
just
if
gonna try find.
anyone's like ever,
Mhm,
ever, like ever looking for anything, like if they're going through
mhm,
grief, like that helped, like it helped me. And I
mhm,
found other like channels and resources through them that's
mhm.
helped me. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, brilliant.
maybe it's
Because
worth someone
that
else.
was going to be my thing. Okay, so what is out there, and if that's something that's helped you, that could be of benefit to anybody that's watching as
Mm,
well, is to find content creators online that are specifically that have gone through the same circumstances that you have that you can relate
yeah,
to, because they can offer so many different, even just listening to somebody else, knowing that you're not alone in going
yeah,
through that
absolutely.
experience, because I can't even
Yeah.
imagine how that that loneliness feels, and the world's just
Mm,
going by, and yet you're there like, oh my God, in so much pain, but yet the world's still turning. World's still
absolutely.
turning.
Yeah, you can have so many people around you and still
Yeah.
feel so lonely.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. But that's like any situation, really, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can have so many
100%.
people around you, but still
Yeah.
feel so lonely. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the same with grief as well.
Mm, mm. It's such a painful thing, and everyone's just, hi, can I get you a coffee? Yes, what would you like? You're like, whoa, it's a bit of a reality shock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like they don't, they're not in that same position, or they don't feel the same
Mm,
things. So, um, so the resources, so you feel like there needs to be more out there for people. There's not enough out there.
100%.
That's yeah, I
There is
definitely think
not enough out there. I think,
yeah.
and people, I said to you, what helped me
Mhm.
is not going to help someone else.
Yeah.
But from what I found on social media and like them things that I found have helped me. Like they could
Mhm.
help someone else, they might not. But the things that I found are from people who have been through it.
To people that can
Apart from
relate.
this one lady, it's
Okay.
called, but she's like a medium, psychic medium. She
Hmm.
writes books and stuff, and I'm utterly obsessed with her. And she's helped me through my grief as well.
Hmm. What do you mean, like one to one, or just her channel?
No, just her channel, and I ended up buying her books and stuff and reading her books.
Oh wow.
Laura Lynn Jackson, her name is, and yeah, like that helped me.
I think I might have read something of her. It sounds really familiar.
Secret Language of the Universe, one of her books.
Yeah.
It's called. It's got signs at the top, and then it's the Secret Language of the Universe. And I bought that book when my dad was still alive, weirdly, and I never ever read it until probably 12 months after he passed
Silver.
away.
I'm just having a look on my library now. I want to make this is going to be so nuts if it. Yeah. Oh yeah, Laurelyn Jackson, not the same one. I didn't realize she's on social media. Not the same one, but it's just called Signs.
Yeah,
She's done
yeah.
a
No,
book.
that is the book.
Oh, is it the book? Oh
Yeah, that's the
yes, of
book.
course.
She
We
done
just
The Light Between Us and Signs, and then underneath
Signs.
it's the Secret Language of the Universe.
Yeah,
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 I've got
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah, I've read it. I've read it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
Signs. Yeah, yeah. You
Utterly
can.
obsessed with that book.
Yeah, yeah. You see, it's weird because grief. That book really gives you an insight as to how to ask for signs,
Yeah,
and that we get them every day if
yes,
we
without
ask.
even knowing.
Yeah, yeah. But
Mm,
sometimes it's like, are we listening? Are we looking? Are we actually seeing things? Are we actually present enough to receive the sign?
mm. I'm
So,
so passionate about about that topic, but that's
are you?
because that's helped me get through my grief.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I didn't realize that was the same book. I was like, signs.
Mm.
Oh, wow. Well, I 100% think that you'd be great in doing something of and putting more content out there because of your experiences, and it'd be really impactful. You could help so many people. That's why I wanted you
Mm,
to come on and speak about it because I do personally think it's not something that's spoken about enough. And
I
I
would
would
love
speak,
to be able to do something like that.
yeah, I can speak on the loss of relationships, identity, friendships, all of those things. I can speak on those. But when it comes to that different, whole different vibe, but you'd be
Mm.
really powerful in that space. So if there's one thing that you could, if there's one thing, if there is one thing, what do you feel like has been the most important thing for you in coping with grief? If you could name one thing that's like really important, like if you didn't
Ooh,
have that, like you'd find it very, very difficult to like just get through your day, one thing.
that's a difficult question. I would say people allowing me to talk about my dad and not feel awkward.
Wow.
Like I love to speak about my dad. It makes me sad, but it also makes me happy.
Mm.
I love to speak about him and I like to watch videos and I like to look at pictures and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think the thing that's yeah, the answer to your question is people allow me to speak about my dad and not feel awkward about it.
You see, that's really interesting because I would have thought that I had the idea of that, like you said, it's a bit of a weird paradox. Would you want to speak about it? Because would that make you more upset, or would that trigger you?
Mm.
So I think
Which
people
I
would.
yeah, I can't speak for my brother obviously, but I know when I talk about my dad, my brother doesn't. My brother speaks about him. Don't get me wrong, but if I bring up my dad to my brother, I know that that's a trigger
Mm,
for him. Like
yeah,
I hold off on talking about my dad to my brother because I know how it affects him, whereas it
yeah,
doesn't affect me like that.
yeah. That's got to be really difficult for you then, because your brother's probably
Mm,
the only person that you can really speak to on a deep, deep
yeah,
level, and you're not able to do that because you're aware of that. It's going to be a huge
how
trigger for
he
him
feels. Yeah, yeah.
to speak about that.
Mm.
What could people do? How could people approach that then? If they have that idea in your head, like I sort of did, really, they have that idea in their head. How do I approach that then? And find out if somebody wants to speak about it or not. How would you find that out without stepping on
I
their
mean, I'm
toes?
quite a vocal person, so like it's different for me. Like I'll happily say to people, let me talk about my dad. Whereas some people aren't brave enough to say, like,
Mm,
let me talk about this person, or I really don't want to talk about this person.
mm.
That's a difficult question to like. I don't think I can answer that because everyone's different.
Do you think it's just allowing that person to see, because you have the thought, do you have the thought of, you know, um, I don't want to speak about, like, I don't want to, because you said like somebody allowing me to speak about my dad. So what is it for you that you feel like you're not able, like, who are you able to speak to your dad about?
I I talk to my partner a lot. He probably gets fed up.
Mm,
He doesn't. But like he knows that's my coping mechanism of talking about my dad. The good, the bad, and the ugly stuff about my dad. He knows
mhm,
that's how I cope with it. So
mhm.
he just lets me waffle on basically.
Yeah. I think that maybe it would be then a case of you introducing that into the conversation, because I think people are just going to have reservations about bringing it up
Yeah.
because they don't want to trigger you. So I think that you would have to be the leader in that. I think it's about the griever setting the stage for that, and making the other
Yeah,
person aware of
totally.
that you want to speak about it and you want to talk about these things, so that then they feel comfortable enough to open that out for you and give you the space.
Mm.
Because I think that everyone's going to think like, not everybody, but I think there's people out there that are going to think like me, and think, well, I don't really want to open any doors because in case it
Mm.
upsets her, you
It's a
know.
taboo subject, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah. So I think that for the grievers out there, it's for you to speak about your dad and, keep him alive by talking, keep
Mm.
him alive by in your thoughts. That's, and by doing that, again, that can be very, very powerful. But it's for you to set that stage.
Yeah.
And I think no one's gonna really, who's, go in there and just
Mm.
but yeah, it's good that you've got your boyfriend to speak about those things with.
Mm.
And that is where, when you're in a good relationship, you're able to deal with these things. You're able to speak about these things. You're able to be supported. A healthy relationship is part of that. That is part of it. You go through tough
Yeah,
times. They're there to support you. And
definitely.
yeah, so I've really found today's conversation educational. It's taught me a lot about, the ways to approach different grievers. And that not everybody's grief is the same. And another really powerful thing that you said was, if you don't know what to say, just don't say anything and just
Mm.
allow that person to speak if they want to, and not think
Yeah,
about the right thing to say, or and don't even think about that, and just giving that person space to open up. Yeah, it's really, really informative. So thank you very much, Elle. Thank you for speaking about your dad with me. I really appreciate you coming on and informing me and everybody else that's watching about those different stages, those different phases, and knowing that it's not linear. It's something that happens. You're up, you're down, you're going to have your good days, you're going to have your bad days, you're going to have this. It's constant. It's a constant flow of different emotions. There is no start or end. There is no,
absolutely.
you know, there is no time is a healer. It's just you're taking every day as it comes. You're taking every day and facing that day, and with an open mind, and just living your life and doing the best that you can. So
Absolutely.
thank you very much for sharing everything with me today, and I hope everyone that's watching can take something away. And I will be waiting for your YouTube channel. I'm I'll be waiting for this. Yeah, I think you've got so much more to say, and lots of things. But again, it's a personal thing, isn't it? I'm all about
Yeah,
when I hear someone say something, I'm like, oh, you could do this, you could do that. Start your
yeah.
business way. Do this, do that. But I am, because when I hear that someone's passionate about something, it's like, well, the passion is there for a reason. It's like you don't feel passionate about something for no reason. What you do with
Mm.
that passion is entirely up to you. You have to turn it into a business. You don't have to turn it into a YouTube channel. You could just be passionate about it, and make sure that you, when you are speaking to somebody, offer their support. That could be a way of giving back. But yeah, for the fact that you were passionate about it before anything happened,
Mm.
that's a little ding ding to me. I
Yeah.
don't know if it is for you, but yeah. So yeah, I'll be waiting for that. Thank you everyone for watching. And if you have anything that you would like to share about dealing with grief, then please leave it in the comments section below.